Boys, recently I've been struggling with this, I'm not gonna lie. And a lot of my clients have been talking to me about this, in my weekly calls. This is a big topic. And I want to sit here and be transparent with you guys, because I feel like it's always a scenario where what I'm usually going through, my clients happen to be going through like more of a scaled version of that. And really, I've been seeing a lot of comments about it as well, and it's just a big thing that's been circulating. So I feel called, I need to make a video. How do you stay motivated and you stay like on fire towards your goals after you've accomplished the goals that you originally set out to accomplish? Because for the longest time, like what I'm doing right now, I wrote about in my journal, I meditated on, I reflected on. Like, I've wanted to have a YouTube channel for so long, and I'm at 23,000 subscribers, and that's not crazy, but that's like, I've dreamed about just having 10K for so long. I've got a decently successful business, and everything that I am doing now, making videos, I'm supporting myself. I get to live on my own and support myself financially so that I can work out, do the things that I love, work out, study, read books, and most importantly, like help others along on their journey. And I've been ticking off a lot of the boxes that I set out to accomplish so long ago. And I'm nowhere near like the end version of myself. I'm nowhere near that at all. I'm not satisfied, and I hope I never am satisfied. But it's very easy to fall into the trap of complacency when you've accomplished a lot of these goals. Like just the main things that I would just tear myself up over, that just gave me so much fire inside of me, was just like getting my own apartment. I've got a nice apartment. I just bought my dream truck like a week and a half ago. That's been great, but it's like all these things that gave me fuel for so long, and most of them weren't even materialistic at all. Materials can only give you so much fuel, but like that fire, that just like unquenchable thirst every single day, it's not as strong anymore. And now like I have unbreakable discipline, and I believe that discipline isn't just doing the things that you don't want to do. It's doing the things you don't want to do like you love doing them. Because without intention, without intensity, you're not going to make progress. If someone is, you can have two people that are doing the exact same tasks. One of them is doing them like he loves them, and the other guy is just kind of half-assing it, just going through the motions. The guy who's going through the motions still isn't going to make much progress. So there has to be something inside of you that is bigger than you, that allows you to, even when everything in your body is telling you go the other direction, you have to have something inside of you that makes you run head first into the danger, head first into the hard work, head first with all the effort that you're capable of giving. I'll give you guys an example with my truck. Like, that was something that I was just like for a long time, not because of getting the truck, like what the material would bring me. I know that won't bring me joy or fulfill me, but that was kind of like a standard. Like, if I'm able to purchase this car, like everything is going in the direction that I want it to be. So that kind of tied up everything. It was a big thing for me. I've wanted to buy this truck since before it came out, and I always dreamed of getting myself a truck when I was younger, and I always looked forward to that. I drove that 2006 Acura. I paid for that thing cash when I was like 17 years old, and because I bought everything growing up. All my clothes were hand-me-down or bought from the thrift store. Like, that's how I operated. I'm thankful for that, because it gave me that fire to go and get things. Nothing was ever handed to me, right? But I got it, and I remember like a lot of my 425 wake-ups, when I would feel that resistance to just stay in the bed. I'd be like, man, nah. Like, and I was able to use that as a little bit of like a pushing mechanism. Be like, man, I gotta keep working. I'm getting close. You know, I can get the truck. And I've been able to buy this for a few months, but I wanted to make sure that everything was right, and that, you know, I got a good deal, and, you know, here we are. But that doesn't even matter, right? That doesn't even matter. What matters is the work. But I woke up, and it was this strange epiphany, because I woke up and then the thought of like the truck motivating me came into my mind. And then I was like, well, I have it. Like, I have it. What's next, right? And this had motivated me for so long. Like, I've got a decently successful coaching business. I'm transforming people's lives every single day. Like, the feeling of deficit wasn't there, because my immediate goals were like, I'm living them out. I'm right smack dab in the middle of it. And it was kind of this like feeling of, I felt the fire kind of burn out a little bit. And I was like, well, that's odd, you know. But since I have discipline, I'm still able to wake up at 4:25. And this happened about a week and a half ago. Just haven't made a video about it yet. And then my clients started talking about the same thing. They're like, how do you stay like motivated? How do you set new goals when you accomplish the goals that you originally set out on that gave you so much passion? And I've thought about this, and it just comes down to being obsessed with the work. And the more that you achieve, the more confidence that you are going to have, because confidence comes from reps. Confidence comes from competence. How much like confidence you have in yourself comes from how much experience you have and how many times you've pushed yourself, how many things you have achieved, right? So the more you achieve, the more confidence you should be able to have. Therefore, you should set your goals at a much larger scale than you did before. And I just want to hit on this quick this morning, because it's already about 6 a.m. I finished my morning cardio, and as I'm just waking up every single day, pushing through, I've realized that the deficit has to become greater. When I had no money, didn't have this truck, my business didn't run, I still had the goal. And the deficit from the goal, the further I was away from the goal, the more fire I had inside of me, because I knew I had to work harder. And don't get me wrong, I've got big ass goals still, and those haven't gone away. But I realized that I haven't sat down like I did at the beginning and restructure out, reset in stone, like revisualize into concrete these goals that I want to accomplish the way I did in the beginning. Most people think just because you have these goals bouncing around in your head, you have this, you know, idea, like this dream lifestyle that's in your head, you know, but you've never sat down and fully structured it on paper, written out what it's going to be like, every single detail to a T. And that's what I did at the beginning. And I analyzed my life, where I was, what I needed to cut out, and what I needed to add to get there. And I did that about 2 years ago, and haven't really done that since. And so I'm blessed to be able to look at this from, kind of look at my character and be conscious enough of, in the moment enough to be like, I need to do this again, because my standards have reset. I need to create new standards for myself, new pressure that's going to create a new diamond, because this version of me is the diamond that I imagined a few years ago when I started this journey. But to create an even sharper and harder and more defined diamond, which would be the man that I'm creating, I need to add more pressure, a new type of pressure from a new angle. The 4:25 wake up, I have to stay consistent with that. The cold shower, I have to stay consistent with that. The training, I have to stay consistent with that. But eventually, you become pressurized to that. and it doesn't affect you the same. So what I've realized and what I tell a lot of my clients is the deficit has to be greater. I'll give an example right here. But the reason that they feel like that I've analyzed is when they came to me, when they went in my description and all this pain was floating around about where they were in life and they couldn't get out of the cycle of despair and they wanted to change their physique, they wanted to change their life, become more disciplined and be able to hold themselves accountable. They went in my description, they took the risk. What motivated them to get on the call in the beginning? Since my program is so good and I work so individually with each client, they've already achieved those goals that they set out to achieve in the beginning. And they're like, that fire's not there anymore because they took that risk, right? And so I've been telling them, and I give them this example. The reason that rich people, and the reason I use rich people is because it's an easy example to give, but the reason that rich people seemingly work harder than poor people is because in their mind, the deficit towards their goals is greater. If you have a poor guy who's making $10,000 a year and his goal is to make $100,000 a year, the deficit is only $90,000. But if you have a rich guy who's making $10 million a year and his goal is $100 million a year, the deficit is $90 million. He feels so much further away from his goal of 100 million than the poor guy feels away from his goal of 100,000. The poor guy only has to make $90,000 and he knows the reality of that. Not that fucking difficult. If he just makes a couple changes here, because everything falls down to your habits, your routines, the way that you think, and the way that you structure your day. Everything. How much money you make, what you look like, how your relationships go, the confidence that you have, it all falls down to your habits, your mindset, habits, nutrition, and training. Basically, at the end of the day, right? The discipline that you have to execute those steps. And he understands that he only has to make a few changes to get to that 100K a year. So he doesn't feel the fire inside of him to wake up earlier, to get shit done faster, more efficiently, better, work smarter and harder at the same time. When the rich guy knows what it took him to get to 10 million, it's gonna take him 10 times that to get to 100 million. The poor guy didn't really work much to get to that 10,000. So the problem is, now that we've achieved those goals, we haven't reset the standard for what we have to accomplish. That is what it takes, brother. Now that you have achieved, maybe you started your first business, maybe you're at 10K a month, maybe you're making 100K a month, right? Maybe you've moved into a place that you dreamed about for a long time. Maybe you finally built the discipline to actually start going to the gym, to actually start training. Now it's time to take it to the next level. Now it is time to take it to the next level. And I think that's what's so special about my program, is that no matter where you get to, it is the core foundation that always takes you to the next level. And that is what separates me from the rest of the market. What we have to do is recreate these goals that are so huge that no matter where we are right now, no matter the fact that anything that you've accomplished, no matter the fact that, I got my dream truck, I'm living in an apartment, I don't have to worry about buying food from the grocery store and feeling like I'm going broke just for buying healthy food. I genuinely used to have that, and it was the worst feeling ever. It gave me so much pain. The pain that you're in right now is not enough because you are satisfied. I don't have to worry about, how much gas can I put in my car? Click the premium button and I sit in my car and I wait till it fills up all the way. It's like $130 to fill this truck up. Whatever, Like, I don't have to worry about that anymore. So those tiny little daily nuances, or those tiny little nagging pain points, aren't happening to me as much. So it doesn't give me the fire to move from where I am. But if I reset my standards, I restructure my life so far away from where I am right now, I'm going to notice it more. It's not about having a yacht, having a private jet, but the reason why those are such high standards of success It's because the normal person, if you can afford a flight and you're like, oh man, get to fly business class, this isn't that bad. If you came from not even being able to afford a flight or flying fucking Frontier or Spirit or some shit, and you're like, oh, I get to fly business on Delta now, or whatever the fuck it's called, economy. And the pain point's not there as much anymore. But someone who is flying private would be like, what the fuck? I have to wait in a line and show them my ID? Wait around all these people that are fucking fat, wearing masks, all this bullshit. Wait in line at all these processed food, fucking fast food restaurants, all of that. I don't want to do that. I want to walk out on the tarmac, hand the dude my bag, and get on the fucking plane with a filet waiting on me, right? And to some people that might be like, oh, that's overkill, that's too much. Do you know why they set their goals there? Because they can create more pain points in their life. You can't be satisfied with where you are right now. I can't be satisfied with where I am right now, no matter what I accomplish. I must set my standards even higher. I have to hold myself more accountable, whether that be waking up earlier, dialing in my nutrition even more. There is always things to improve on. There's always someone who's doing better than you. Always. And I see the biggest mistake I see, and I used to do this, was I would compare myself to those around me. But now, the people who live around me are not shit compared to what I'm doing. So if I compare myself to them, it makes me feel good. I went to Miami a couple weeks ago, and there's fucking kid driving in a Bentayga, kid driving in a Rolls Royce, 20-year-old, he's driving his SF90, all these things, and I'm like, fuck, I'm not shit. You need to get around people who are absolutely shitting on you, so you go from the big fish in the pond to a little fucking minnow. You're nobody. I don't compare myself to other 19-year-olds in this industry. I compare myself to 40-year-old dudes that are at the top of the industry, making $2-3 million a month. 7-figure, 8-figure businesses. Not because I want to live the lifestyle that they live. Sure, it'll be nice when I get there, right? But because they work harder than me. And I crave to be able to work harder than them. I push myself to be able to work harder than them. Their goals are bigger than mine, so they feel at more of a deficit than me. How much of a pussy am I for me to sit here and be like, oh, I'm in my TRX, I don't need to work. Meanwhile, there's motherfuckers out there that make this car in a day. Yet I want to act like working on and not getting up for 8 hours straight and going to the gym twice a day and waking up at 4:25. I want to act like that's something. That isn't shit. You want to act like you're waking up at 6 a.m., running your little e-com business, trading, making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. You want to act like that's something? That isn't shit. There's dudes out here that just made 5 M's during the bull market. Oh, you made a little bit of money off some gaming and some AI. Wow, congrats. Oh, you put on 10 pounds of muscle. You're still not gonna, if we were next to each other on the beach, I'd mog you. I hate using that word, it's so corny. But you have to reset your standards. Don't compare yourself to who you think you're comparable to. Compare yourself to people that are way out of your fucking league and reset your standards. That is how that fire will drive inside of you. Like, fuck, I'm only doing this? You gotta come with that passion. That's how I've been coming the past couple days, because I reset my standard. And as soon as I go home, I took my Sabbath on Sunday, and I sat and I just reflected all day. Still woke up, still went to the gym, did all these things, but I didn't make any content, and I just reflected all day. And I was like, it's time to turn it up a notch. It's time to go to the next level. Who am I to sit here and be comfortable in my spot? I gotta apply more pressure. I gotta apply more stress. Your goal should not be to get less stress in your life. Your goal should be able to tolerate more. Don't be upset that the weight is heavy. Try and create broader shoulders. Don't be pissed because there's so much on your plate. Work hard to develop a bigger plate so that you can take on more. Don't wish you had less stress. Wish your stress tolerance was higher, and work for that stress tolerance to be higher. Everything is malleable through reps. Miss your wake up one day, do it fucking again the next morning. Miss your wake up again, do it again the next morning. Do it over and over and over and over again until your mind finally submits. That's how you create a resilient mindset. You will not achieve anything great without taking risks. You have to invest in yourself. Whether you want to take risks now, invest money, you have to pay down something. You can either pay time or you can pay money. If you have money, the quickest way to achieve things is to invest in a coach who specifies in what you're trying to accomplish. Or you can spend the 3 to 5 years that it's going to take. You can either spend the 3 to 5 years or you can pay a large sum of money. Which one? I think time is more valuable than money. I pay the money every single time. When I had no money, I invested in myself so I could minimize the amount of time that it took me. That's what I did. I invested in coaches, I invested in mentors, I invested in books, programs, content, stuff. It's always the people that feel like they can't learn from someone else that become satiated, that become satisfied. Reset your standards, brother, and the flame will burn an inferno inside of you. That is how you stay motivated when you've already accomplished the goals that you set out to accomplish. This new chapter in life, this is a new season. Let's take it to the next level together. I've got a bunch of heat coming out for you guys this week. I'm doubling down on my work ethic. I'm doubling down on my consistency. I'm doubling down on my accountability. That is my promise to you guys. And I want to see each and every one of you win with me. I love you boys. Stay aggressive.